The world invites you to a throne that was never meant for you, and that is why you are still empty. In the modern age, we are told that the solution to every psychological ache and spiritual void is more of ourselves. We are told to manifest our truth, protect our energy, and above all, to love ourselves before we can love anyone else. It sounds poetic, it feels therapeutic, but for the Catholic soul, this gospel of self-love is a dangerous deviation from the narrow path. It is a false gospel because it promises a crown without a cross and a resurrection without a death. The great deception of the me. The world's mantra is simple: love yourself. Jesus Christ's command is jarringly different: deny yourself. In the Gospel of Matthew 16:24, Christ says, "If any man will come after me, let him deny himself and take up his cross and follow me." This isn't a suggestion, it is the prerequisite for discipleship. The modern world views self-denial as a form of repression or a lack of self-esteem. In reality, Catholic doctrine teaches that self-denial is the ultimate liberation. It is the act of clearing the clutter of our ego so that God may finally take his rightful place in our hearts. Consider a cup filled to the brim with salt water. No matter how much fresh, life-giving water you try to pour into it, the vessel cannot hold it because it is already preoccupied with its own bitterness. To receive the living water, the vessel must first be emptied. That is what self-denial is, the emptying of the self so we can be filled with the divine. The fallacy of self-worth versus God-worth. The self-love movement argues that we are the source of our own value. However, the Catechism of the Catholic Church reminds us that our dignity is not something we manufacture, it is something bestowed. We are made imago Dei, in the image and likeness of God. When we focus on self-love, we are essentially trying to worship the reflection in the mirror rather than the Creator who cast the image. This leads to a fragile sense of worth. If my value comes from how much I love myself today, what happens tomorrow when I fail? What happens when I am confronted with my sin, my temper, or my laziness? If I am my own God, then my God is a failure. True Catholic humility isn't thinking less of yourself, it's thinking of yourself less. St. John the Baptist captured the essence of the Christian life in 5 words: "He must increase, I must decrease." John 3:30. The narrative of the prodigal ego. Imagine a young man who spends his inheritance on a lavish banquet for one. He sits at a table with the finest meats and wines, but he eats alone. He spends his days admiring his fine clothes and his nights praising his own intellect. He believes he is loving himself by indulging every whim. But as the years pass, he realizes he has no friends, no purpose, and a soul that is starving despite the feast. This is the tragedy of the self-love gospel. It turns our gaze inward, creating a circular logic that eventually suffocates. Real love, by its very nature, is ecstatic. It moves outward. To love is to will the good of the other, as St. Thomas Aquinas famously defined it. Self-love is a contradiction because it attempts to make the subject and the object the same thing, effectively short-circuiting the power of charity. The hard truth: the cross is the only mirror. The world tells you to look in the mirror to find your value. The Church tells you to look at the crucifix. On the cross, we see the absolute denial of self. Christ did not love himself into the tomb. He poured himself out for us. If we want to find our lives, we must be willing to lose them. This is the paradox of the faith. When we stop obsessing over our self-care and start obsessing over soul care through the sacraments, something miraculous happens. The anxiety of maintaining an image vanishes. We do not need more self-affirmation, we need more contrition. Contrition is the honest acknowledgement that we are broken and in need of a savior. The self-love gospel tries to heal the wound by telling the patient the wound doesn't exist. The gospel of Christ heals the wound by washing it in the blood of the Lamb. Why you can't do both. You cannot serve two masters. You cannot sit on the throne of your own heart and expect Jesus to sit there too. The world says you are enough. The church says you are not enough, but God's grace is sufficient for you. The world says follow your heart. The church says the heart is deceitful above all things. Jeremiah 17:9. Follow the truth. When we choose the path of self-denial, we aren't choosing misery. We are choosing the only path that leads to authentic joy. St. Augustine famously wrote, "Our hearts are restless until they rest in you." He didn't say our hearts are restless until we learn to appreciate our own reflection. To live a truly Catholic life is to participate in a daily death. We die to our pride, our lust for validation, and our need to be the center of the universe. In that death, we find a life that the world cannot give and cannot take away. Stop seeking yourself. You're not that interesting compared to the God who knit you together. Seek Him, deny yourself, and you will finally find the person you were meant to be. If you found this reflection helpful and wish to fortify your faith against the distractions of the modern world, please subscribe to our channel for more deep dives into Catholic doctrine and the beauty of the truth.